Hey.
Okay, so the reason why we're doing this, I don't even know what to call this, is because we both read Real, by Kennedy Ryan, and I would have just put out a video like I always do of what I thought about the book, but it was just great to discuss it with someone else. And so
Mhm.
this is what we're doing. We are just talking about Real because we were just blown away by this book and this story. Hi everyone. So my friend James and I just read Real by Kennedy Ryan, and it's being re-released this November with an edition of 7,000 words. And we really loved and enjoyed reading this book, and we just wanted to talk about it. Like, there's so many times, and I'm using like so much James, why? But there's so many times we're on this platform where we talk about books we loved, but what I was craving was to just discuss it with a friend. And I will warn you, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't read this book, stop watching this video now. But
Right
where to
now.
even start? Our girl Kennedy did her big one with this.
Big one. I'm like, Kennedy is and forever will be that girl because this book, amazing. Like, it was absolutely amazing.
And also, I guess we can start at the beginning.
Yeah.
We were talking about how we are introduced to this character, Neva Saint, and what happened with her sister and her fiance. Your thoughts?
I was completely blown away that her sister, her sister and her fiance would have this whole like little affair on the side and then don't bring it to her attention until they're expecting a baby. Like Kennedy just like stops us like right there at the
Let's
beginning of the
just
book. We're
start with
like,
the bomb.
whoa, literally.
I couldn't imagine, like, I was boiling for her, but I have sisters, and I can't imagine any one of my sisters ever doing something like that to me. I don't know what our relationship would be like. Like, if it would be reparable. Not even because of the guy. Like, he can be set to the side, but the fact that
Hmm.
you are my sister,
Yeah. I
like,
don't
that's a
have
different kind of
sisters.
bond right there.
It is like I don't have sisters, but like even like the friends of mine who have become family, like you, like other friends that I have who are like, I'm super close with, I could not imagine. Like, and I just feel like there is no amount of apology, there is no amount of time. Like, it would just be, I don't think it could ever get back to where it was. Like, even if we have like made up, we've like moved on, we've understood everything. I don't think there's any returning to like where we were.
I don't think so. And then we get that bomb and we just skip right along to the next prologue,
Right.
and then we're in the story. And I was like, we just started reading this book and we dropped a bomb.
Right.
On to the next, on to the next. But I don't even know where to start with, even what were your thoughts when we first meet Canon?
Oh my gosh, like he sounds like this beautiful, like dark and mysterious type. Like, we want to get to know him. Like, okay, this is our love interest. I was super excited about him. Um, but also he seemed like super guarded. So I was like, okay, I don't know what to expect from him. Like, I don't know if he is not going to be open, if she's going to be like trying and like things are not going to happen. So I was really kind of apprehensive about Hannah in the beginning just because he was so guarded and just kind of like this dark, mysterious type, but still like very like, this is our guy.
And at first, like, his first impression with, obviously, like, he was on his phone typing away trying to make things happen, and we are just like, he's being very rude. Like,
Hmm.
why are you being rude? And just like the birdie type, and I was just like, is he going to be like this the rest of the book? Like, just ignore everyone, do all these things. I mean, granted, the girl who was sitting next to was trying too hard, but the fact like everybody's having a conversation at the table, and it's just like type away. I mean, we later find out what he was doing, but still.
Yeah. It was the secret stares for me during the dinner. Like them like both like secretly staring at each other. Like she was a little bit more obvious than he was, but I was like the fact that he peeped it was just like, this is gonna be good.
And and also like already knowing like he's making a movie and we know like his last not his last movie like but the last uh relationship he was in with this like leading lady didn't go well. And
Hmm.
now yeah like you're seeing like okay this has to be the love interest, but then you're like okay but there's also that dynamic of boss and actress, and you're like how is this going to work out? Because we already know that last time this happened caused big issues for him. He lost a job
Yeah,
because she made sure he lost the job. And as much as he's determined not to do this, but I like how Neva is like, why not?
yeah. But also, like, there is this like undeniable chemistry between these two. Like, they are like opposing magnets that cannot like not come together. Like, they cannot help but like gravitate towards each other, and it's just like, how are you gonna continue to like stick to your guns on like not getting involved with her? And I get it professionally speaking. Like, you don't want to like mess with anybody at work, but there was no denying that, like, no denying themselves, like, with each other, like, at all.
And especially the fact that his closest friends who he works with were picking up
Hmm.
on it. No matter how much she was trying to pretend like I'm staying away with you, passing notes through, I think the assistant director, right? Like not
Hmm.
interacting with her. And the friends are like, we can see it. But also on her end, like, was it the dance instructor or the choreographer who was like, nope, don't even think
Yes,
about it. Those
yes, it
are
was the
going to be problems
choreographer.
for you
She was like,
because
I see this, like, shut it down,
this is a
girl. And I
no-no.
was like,
But I also like um so like figuring outside like Evan being his production partner, but we also like we keep on coming back. I don't want to say like fixation, but you know obviously like Lynn was such a big like the way he meets and won't stop talking about her,
mm-hmm,
and we see it throughout the books. And I know I'm jumping ahead of myself right now, and we know like the next book is going to be Score.
yeah.
Whatever comes after Score, is it Evan and Lynn?
I mean, that's gonna like that is my suspicion. Like, we know the next story is gonna be about Monk because of Score, and like Kennedy leaves us on this cliffhanger of like what happens with the movie, but it has to be about Evan
Oh, it
and
totally just
Lynn
off.
divorcing trashy Law and them getting together. Like, that's
Not
a
us
sneaking
wanting
suspicion
a
both of us
couple, a
have.
whole couple to divorce. We want this to go the way it wants to go, but I also want to talk about just how like Canon, like I love Canon's reaction first of all to when obviously the world finds out about them, thanks to is it Camille? That's her name, right?
Yes.
Um, but also like his reaction to that situation, and then remember when she also tells Evan about her health um issue, obviously like
Hmm.
she has lupus, how like even though Evan is the one which she went through the proper channels one and didn't want to put him in that position, but his reaction to it was like obviously he gets upset at Evan like why didn't you call me last night? But I like that he's like just caring about what do we need to do to make sure you're okay. And
There was
not
like
like
never a question of like, hey, like, how are we going to finish this movie? There was no pressure applied to her about that, and I was just like, this Cannon
she's
is
worrying
doing.
about all this
Yes.
herself, but it's just like, which takes me back to what his mom told him in the prologue. Is like,
Mm,
I want you to one day care about someone more than you care about this um,
your art.
art.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
was just like,
It's happening.
yeah, because
Because like
I
that was
know
his
like
whole
we were.
reason.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry.
Go
That was
ahead.
like his whole reason for like not wanting to like get with her. Is like, I don't want to like mess up this film. This film is going to be like the biggest thing ever. Like, I don't want to ruin it. And then like once he like begins to fall for her, he was like,
And
how is
also like
she?
wanting
Like,
to protect her career because she's
mm-hmm.
just like starting out in the movie business and wanting to
Yeah.
make sure like this doesn't get like judgment, or people judge like her capabilities as an actress before they're even able to see the movie. But also, I felt like I was reading, or like we listened to them, listening to two books at once, because the
Oh my
way
gosh.
she
Yeah.
melded the stories together, like obviously what's happening making this movie, but also we're learning about Desi and what's happening in her life. And I seriously, like, I almost fell out of my chair when the singing started, because
Girl, I was riding in the car and I was like, hold up, I've got to, because like I typically listen at like 1.75, like 1.5, somewhere around there. And I was like, hold up, I gotta like stop
take it
so that
back
I
to
can
one.
like slow it down so I can hear this music like the way it's meant to be heard. But like, I was not expecting singing. Like, nobody warned me. I had no idea it was coming. And I was just like, hold up.
And it
I
was
saw like a,
so good. It wasn't cringy. It
yes.
wasn't bad. It was good. And I was
Yeah.
just like, this is a whole experience. I don't think I've ever um heard an audiobook that
No.
like was like that. Like, I don't know. I haven't experienced that yet. I don't know if there's anything like that where like it's a whole production. There's like singing
Yeah.
in this audiobook. And so like, and I think in my head, I think it's one of those rare books that actually played out to me like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Most
maybe that's
definitely.
why I didn't want it to end, because I got to the end and I was like, where's the bonus epilogue? Is this it? Like, and not in a bad way, like I like, this is didn't satisfy me, like the story wasn't great. It was, it's just that I didn't want it to end. I wanted to
Yeah.
keep on knowing what's like going on in their lives and what's happening.
Yeah. Like, this was one of those books where I'm like, I could literally listen to Kanan and Neva's story for like another 2 or 3 books, like easily. Like, just give me everything about them. Like, give me every single piece of their lives from here on out because it was so good. Again, like I typically like once the credits start to roll, like at the end of an audiobook, okay, I'm usually like turning it off. Okay, thanks. But no, I listen to it like this is like the only time where it said 100% because I listened to it like to the very end. Because
Everything.
I was like, I need everything. I like raced the Kennedy Ryan's website, like scouring for this
Hmm.
like for this bonus, like for this epilogue. Wasn't there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is she
Because I was
torturing us
wondering to
like
myself,
this?
like, was there a bonus epilogue? I know we're getting new words, like,
Yeah,
but I was like, was there a bonus epilogue before? Because that's it, like, and it was like, no content yet.
yeah,
When we got that, you're like scratching up, trying to like, I need to know more about this story, like, what's happening in their lives, like, what's going on. And I feel
mm-hmm.
like, for the next books that are coming in the Hollywood Renaissance novels, I think we'll be really like opening that book and be like, we need to know what's going on in their lives. So like, give us little glimpses,
Yeah,
just
almost
a little bit.
definitely. Most definitely. But Kennedy Ryan does a really good job of doing that. Like I'm currently reading Blockshot and then just like hearing about August and Iris like kind of intertwined there.
Hmm.
Like, it's so beautiful. So I know we're gonna like
Because
hear
you're
about
like, oh, you get to get little glimpses of what's happening in their lives of like this book that you just read, and you get more of it. Like, I recently finished the whole series and read Hookshot, so like getting to know like what's happening, even like the
mhm.
characters you're reading about in Blockshot, like
Yeah.
sprinkled all over it. You're like, oh, that makes me feel happy. Like, the story is continuing. And I
Yes.
feel like this is why I know people don't like to read series, but I also like these standalone series, even though like
Hmm.
they're standalone, because even though the main characters were in the first book, and maybe you got a glimpse of all these characters that she'll write about, you're still going to hear about them.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like mentioned casually, just like to give you like what's going on in the story, but that's one aspect that I like about it. But I know like we stayed on the phone like for a good hour after we both finished
Yeah.
reading Real, just like gushing about Neva and gushing about Canon, and just like also her insecurities, which like that's what you want. Like, she had so many insecurities about obviously what was happening to her skin, but also like, is he here because he feels like he can't
Hmm.
leave now because I have this illness he's just discovered, or does he actually want to be here? And I just like how he was shutting it down, like, there's no question. Like, I'm in it, but also like how I feel about you or how I see you has not changed. And I just
Yeah,
like that reassurance because like you want a partner who's going to be like 10 toes down no matter what. And I
a
think
thousand
she
percent.
really needed to hear that because obviously she was insecure with like her skin reacting and it being visible. Like, am I still attractive to this person? Or does anyone, does he like wants to stick with this because this is not just like a short-term illness. Like I am living with this, and it's like obviously like it flared up and progressed very quickly, and this relationship just started.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but that bathtub scene, like, kind of towards the end of the book, like, one, like, the entire time Neva had been, like, so self confident. Like, she knew she was that girl. Like, she knew it was like, look,
Hmm.
I know this body is banging. And, like, she never came with, like, any, like, inhibitions as far as like how like she appeared before him. And so to see that transition because of her illness, like when she's like keeping the towel wrapped around her, like when she's like kind of like closing the door like for her to like take a bath, and the way Cannon comes in with such gentleness and just like complete adoration of not just like who she is like physically, but like one, he still finds her like attractive, like all of the skin issues, like her hair issues, but like everything. He's like, no, like you are still absolutely beautiful to me. And hands down, I was like a bawling, sobbing mess in the car. Like I was not prepared. I was literally just like face just drenched, like bawling, like oh my gosh, where is my cannon?
Which also reminds me of the internal. I wish they could hear their internal dialogues,
Oh
like they
yeah,
were both having. But I mean, which I think that's why I think the book was so relatable because, like, Neva's first of all, like internal dialogue was had me cackling because she's so funny, but also just like him on the other side, even as a man, like his internal dialogue or like his misgivings, and also like that scene in the bathroom, like he had just like obviously his thoughts are just like his the thoughts he had had like just off like thinking to himself before that, which was like you knew what he was thinking, right? And then her having that
yeah,
reaction of obviously like not wanting to be seen because of the insecurities you were having. They were just like, Eva, if you just like could hear what's in his mind right now, like
right,
you would know
right.
like everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But also it needed to be said. That's what I like about it. And also just like from the jump, his protectiveness of her, even
Oh my
like with the
gosh.
Camille situation, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how that phone call was going to go. But he
Girl.
got on the phone like yes, he was upset, but then like literally making Camille understand like, listen, I am trying to make sure like she's okay, and this doesn't like what you did ruin her career because she's that good. And Camille also realizing like, oh, you really like this girl, like this is
Mm-hmm.
serious. And him apologizing, I think, of how things happened, like it needed to happen, but how things happened, I think I just like I liked that scene because even though like I was like when it was happening, I was like he's gonna go off on her because he's so upset about the
Yeah,
situation, and
yeah,
then like finding common ground and her being like we knew she was hurt and her reaction was coming out of being hurt with everything like she did, but also
yeah.
like it needed to be done because well what the phone call you overheard like that's also another story.
A whole another story. But yeah, I really liked how like protective he was of her. Like forget the movie again. He was like, like concerned about like the bad press this could have for the movie, but like still like wanting to protect her. And I think that came across like so abundantly clear for Camille. She was just like, oh snap, like you like this girl for real. Like this is something different than what we had. And I think she noticed that and was like, hey, I want this for him. Um, but yeah, like Canon, girl,
It's
I'm
just
like
like from
almost
start to
speechless.
finish, we like the consistency. And
Yeah,
also like I'm gonna get you. Like I kid
yeah,
is the last thing I do. I do
yeah.
not care if you're beefing with your sister, if she's the one who happens to be the match, like Also, that hospital scene, I was like going like this when he was like, "We're shutting it down right now. This is not what we're going to do."
Yes.
Like,
He was
we're
like,
not
you
arguing
can
about this. Like, when her sister walks in and they start going at it, it's like, "I'm shutting this down right now." And if you don't even believe me, like, our doctor is going to come in, Dr. Okafor is also going to kick you out. Like, I was
yes.
just like, "Yeah,
But also how like he didn't
get your
push
girl."
her as far as like completing the movie. He was like, nope, you're taking all this time to yourself. Like we're not adding any type of stress to your life. I don't care who this stress is coming from, like your sister, anybody. But also we cannot skip over the fact that homeboy like flew her mother out on this whole private jet from the company. Like, girl.
It's like, Evan, make it happen. Because
Right.
the last thing she said is she wanted her mom.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that. She wanted her mom, and he got her mom. Oh, so sweet. Because
Like, oh my gosh. And then also like the tone he took with her mom, like her mom was like, "Oh, I don't like flying," and he was like, "Okay, we basically, you got to
I'll
get
make
over
it
this because
work.
you coming out here."
And also, like, also just like that phone call, because obviously mom hasn't met this person, and whatever
Hmm.
mom may know about this thing might be from the tabloids or just like what's been out there in
Yeah,
entertainment news. But then having the first communication with his mom outside of her because he's making the call, and the conversation they had, and just like, if I can make it happen, can you get on this flight? And obviously, like, we knew who was gonna come
yeah,
with the mom on
yeah,
the flight. But also, like, I also understand, like, this was a life and death situation, but I understand Neva's hesitation in, like, we have barely spoken the last 10-ish years, right?
hmm,
And I don't ask you for a kidney, even though I need one. I
right.
don't ask for a kidney from you.
I mean,
And
but I
she's a
completely
match.
understand. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can't. You can go
I was
ahead.
saying, I completely understand her apprehension for like wanting to ask her. Like, first of all, we don't talk. The last time we did talk, it was a complete catastrophe. Like, no, I'm not asking her. We will wait for Cannon to find his kidney. If it's got to come from halfway across the
Like,
world,
someone
we'll
else
just
is
wait.
gonna be a match.
Right.
Not her. Anybody else can be a match. Not her. But also, like, I feel like I keep on forgetting um her name, but her relationship with her best friend,
Yeah.
who has been her family all these years, when she felt like she couldn't uh go home because of her situation with her sister, or the fact that she thought she also lost her mom in this situation. Like, even though at the beginning her mom was like on her side, like it was wrong, but also like her mom had to be there for her sister because she was like no job, no money, pregnant, a baby's coming over. But also over the years, she's like, if I'm there, that means my mom can spend the holidays with her grandchild.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me. So maybe I just need to stay away. But also like wanting her mom to show up in various ways, which I was just like, Eva.
No.
Like, especially like her week on Broadway, when her mom couldn't like get out there because of fear of flying, and then she had had the surgery, she couldn't get on the bus. But you know what? Something great happened from there. But that conversation, that, I mean, I hate the fact that the daughter had to find out that way about how things went down and why her aunt is not around or in our life.
Yeah.
But like, but what annoyed me about that conversation is how her sister seems to feel like she was the victim in this thing. And I'm just like, did we? I mean, we're reading the same books, but I'm saying, girl, like, you know what you did. Like, you literally betrayed your sister, and
Hmm.
now your sister's the one who's acting bougie because you feel like
Right.
she's living a life like you would have maybe liked to get out of this town and do something else. But I'm just like, ma'am, like, no, you're not in the right, like, there are aspects to it, obviously it's nuanced, but I'm just like, you need to
Hmm.
take accountability for what happened.
Yeah. And there
Because
was
she
no
was just like,
accountability.
you
None.
think you took it first? I'm like, I stayed away because we could even see with, like, even though they were not there at Christmas, like the family members, when like it was brought up, it got awkward.
Hmm.
of how like her sister and her husband began.
Yeah. But her sister was unhinged. I was like, this girl, ma'am. Like the fact that she had spent all this time away from her family and she's still blaming her. Like, you slept with her fiance intentionally. Like, this was
Yeah,
not an accident. This was not like some wild, crazy, drunken night. No, this was strategic. This was manipulation. This was like every terrible thing against your sister, not some random girl who this guy was dating. No, your whole sister.
your sister, who was your best friend,
Yeah.
and you shared everything with. I mean,
I'm
at
like,
least the sister shared everything with her. Clearly,
right.
but not not her man. But clearly, you were jealous and all these other things going on, and I'm just like, we need some accountability here. Yes, like at the end of the day, like your sister is like you would give your sister a kidney, but at the same time, like you need to take some accountability of what went down. And I just feel like I would like to explore that a little bit more and see what's going on now because I don't know like where our relationship would be. Like if that was my life, I mean, I feel like there could be a point where like we can move on from that, but I don't know if our relationship can ever be the same.
I don't think it could. I don't think it would ever be the same. Like, we may be able to like exist and like hang out in the same room, maybe like cook family dinners together. But like me calling you to like give you updates on my life and to like clue you in on like decisions that I have to make or like asking for your advice, never. Like sharing that level of vulnerability with her again, never.
I don't think it happened. I like that she now has a relation. I mean, I'm saying how like this is like a timeline, like we're in the same time. I mean, we are. It's a book. It lives in whatever
Yeah.
timeline we want it to be in. But how like she has a relationship with her niece, but also how her niece
Yeah.
just like wants to be like her aunt.
I was like, how perfect is that? Like, but also like that has to be like super obnoxious for the sister or like for her niece's mom because like one the person who you were like so like bitter and like holding so much animosity against your daughter is so much alike. Like there has to be like a constant like based on like what she was saying, it has to like have her eyes rolling every single day. Like she's got to be like, oh my gosh, this is
But
Neva
it also
all over
reminded
again.
me how cute it was that she wants to come visit
I
and
know.
if Kenan's gonna be okay with it, and it's just like Dave and the dates. And I was like, I like a person who embraces your whole family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where to
I was
come
like,
visit? But I
yes.
also have many questions like, what's gonna happen? Like, is she staying now in LA long term? Is she gonna go back to New York?
Are they gonna split their time? They're gonna spend like half of the time in LA and half of the time in New York.
Do we are we going full Hollywood actress, or are we still going to keep our foot in what we started with, theater? Like, what's happening? These are all like little information that I need from
I
Kennedy
need like a
Ryan.
Hollywood like Renaissance like 1.5 to like
Like
bridge
a little
us.
novella,
Yes, give us a novella with
just
like
like
them.
bring us up to speed on what's happening.
Oh my gosh.
The
Yeah, I need
1.5 before school. I don't, girl, how much is 10,000 words is a lot, right? So we'll get a few pages
that
out of there,
is
right?
maybe.
We just like want to know what's going on.
That's it.
And I think one thing that I like about Kennedy Ryan's like writing is like, um, it's so like, I mean, obviously it's always like nuanced, but like, we are obviously like, the story captures us and then it goes deeper into
Hmm.
even just like the core of us being humans and how we react to certain situations. And obviously, in this situation, we had an illness while this big Hollywood production is happening. Conflict with the fact like she's feeling the pressure of like being the lead of this movie, and then also like dealing with that illness and feeling like everybody's jobs stop. People may not have jobs because I'm
Yeah.
in like every scene or like I'm needed for majority of the scenes. What does that look like? And the person who is your director is like, do not worry about it, and like going to
Hmm.
bat, but also telling his producing partner, he was like, let the studios wait. Like, do they want to be like the bad guy who is demanding all these things when someone is like fighting for their lives? Because like that could be spent in the news a
Girl.
different way. But just like that, but also it was just like that conversation they had with, is it Law? That's his name.
Hmm.
Where even Evan put in the last little dig at the end.
Girl, Evan
And I was
came
like,
up jugular
Evan,
with that one. I was
Evan,
like,
that's when. I was like, you do not deserve her. By the way, that's why I'm like thinking like it needs to be a book. We need to figure that out, or like what's going on. I don't know if that's the plan or what's coming next, but we need to explore that, Kennedy Ryan.
like I know we're kind of like heading towards the end of the book, but one thing that I just was like so appreciative of is how Kennedy Ryan mentioned that Kanan was in therapy. Like she just slide these little nuggets of black men in
Did.
therapy or like black people in general in therapy. And I absolutely love it. Like I was like, and he just
I
casually
like
said
how
like,
it
"Oh
was
yeah, I was
just
talking to my
seamless. Like
therapist."
it wasn't an issue. It was just like
Mm-hmm.
it's normal. And I like
Yeah.
that because it was just like also, and I also like that he was talking to someone about this in therapy because obviously like he is in a relationship with someone with a chronic illness, but is also like being a caregiver at the same time. Gladly
Mm-hmm.
being a caregiver because he wanted her to stay with him, but also like having someone to talk, process his feelings, his fears, because like he was scared, like
Yeah.
of, like what was gonna happen to her. That was his number one priority. And also, I say like when we're watching like the documentary he's been shooting, I say we are watching like we were watching it, but
It felt like
at
it.
the end, like what he says when she goes into surgery, my heart. And I'm just like, do these people exist in real life?
Right. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's my canon? Because it was so like, first of all, like it is very typical of canon to like record and like create all of this, like capture all of this content of her like going through her illness, but to end it in that way, I was just like, oh my goodness, I cannot wait to get my hands on this new copy. I cannot find the original anywhere, and I
I've been
really want
looking.
both
I
versions.
don't know if they're even still available. They're not on our website anymore, like the original
No,
cover.
yeah, no.
Um, mm-mm.
I have scoured all of the places, thrift books, Pango books.
I cannot find that cover real. It's nowhere to be
Mm-mm.
seen. I don't know. But also, like, if it even ended up on like these sites, it's probably going to be like that one you sent to me, which was $125.
I was like, I'm sorry, I love Kennedy Ryan, but I don't think I could pay $125 for a book.
And
I'm a
also,
broke
and
college
also at
student.
the same time, like we know we're going to get the new release, but we're
Yeah,
also the people who like our book trophies. If we have a different cover, wait,
right.
what's this? I'm gonna
Yeah,
get it. So I wonder if that just like I get it, like since it's being re-released, like you want the new cover. That's what's like being sold. So I don't know. I hope we can find the OG covers,
I hope so too. That'd be really cool just to have like OG and the new re-released.
but anyway, we just wanted to kiki
Because
about
it was
this
so
book.
good.
It was really so good. And I
Oh
like
my
how we were
gosh.
just like, where have you reached? Where are you? And it's just like gushing about these two characters. And also
The
like
entire
the
time.
the internal dialogue was
Yeah.
amazing. I loved it
And
so much.
we don't often get a chance to like read a book like pretty much at the same time. Like that's so rare for us.
Mm-mm.
Either you're reading it before I am, or I start a little bit before you. I'm like, oh girl, you gotta get this one, or like go ahead and pick this one up next. But like we were
It's
actually like reading it
rare.
at the same time, and we were like, could not
It
put it
was
down. I
just
think
like,
both of us
how
finished
many
in like,
hours do you have left? How many are you in? And like, literally, I stayed up until I finished it. And I was
yeah,
like, I don't think I'll go to sleep if I don't listen to the rest of it. And I'm also excited to read it because I know
yeah,
I wanted to listen to it because so many people said like it's one of the best audiobooks you've listened to, and I'm glad that I did because it really was great. And also just the singing,
yeah,
it's like the icing on the cake
top tier.
in that
Yeah.
book. So yeah. We love drill. I cannot wait for those 7,000 words.
Girl, me either. I'm like, okay, give me more because I want everything. Like, I
And
want to
I'm
know
so
everything
glad that
possible
they're
about
going
him.
to. I think they're also updating the audio. So, like, it's nice that everything's going to get updated, but
That's what I
also
heard is
things
that
that
the
will
audio is going to
not.
be updated as well.
Hmm.
So
So,
it's
I'm
exciting.
excited for that. But
Yeah.
anyway, we just wanted to chat about this. Like I said, we'll put it in the video description that there's spoilers in here, but we just had like a little book club session about this book.
Totally like fangirling and gushing over this book because it was so good. I think it's my favorite Kennedy Ryan novel, like to date, and I've read quite a few. And I think this one tops before I let go for me.
I feel like every time you read her books, like it just keeps on getting better. But
Yeah,
she did her
yeah,
big one with this one. And
she
I think
did.
like it might be, to be honest. Like I think also the last book we kind of read at the same time was Before I Let Go,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
which is like crazy, and we couldn't stop talking about it because I was sending you voice notes um as it was going on. But I'm also excited to see since like I've finished the whole series to hear like what you think about um the rest of the series
Oh yeah.
because I know
On the
that
Hoop
I
series
pretty much
or
was like could not stop talking about Gory Longshot. I need you to read Longshot so we
hmm
can talk about it. Go read it. Go read it. Go read it.
yes, I'm
So
hoping
we'll
that I
finish
should
that.
finish.
I don't know if we keep on running through these Kennedy Ryan books. We're going to run out of Kennedy Ryan books to read.
I know I still have like the Grip
Oh, and we
series,
still have the Kingmaker series. You haven't
Kingmaker,
started that
and
one,
the
have you?
Queen series as well. There's like a
Mm. Is it the
there's a
same
few
one?
like
Mhm.
we have a
We
few more to
haven't
get
read
through.
Grip yet.
Mm-mm.
The Grip series. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
we're
read
good.
that next. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like the Skyline series is not done yet.
No, I cannot wait for Hendrix. Oh my gosh, that cover! I know we weren't even supposed to talk about this, but that cover. Whew,
It's purple. It's my favorite color.
I know it.
Oh,
It's
I
so
don't know if I
beautiful.
sent it to you, but the Barnes and Noble special edition, everything is purple.
Oh really?
You need to get it before it sells out because it was number one. They're going fast. But the Barnes and Noble, I think it will also have bonus content.
Okay.
But you know how it's all like all the flowers are purple on it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Actually, I feel like Kennedy's book, everybody has been anticipating because we know Kennedy from the first book, like her character, I mean, Kennedy, look at me, Hendrix. From the first book, we everybody just fell in love with Hendrix's character, and she doesn't
Yes.
miss words and rich auntie.
Yes. Rich auntie, sass, like the whole nine. Like doesn't take anything.
Now we get to have a story, so I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited.
Girl, I think we went overtime, but thanks for talking to me about this book. I like this.
Of course. This was fun. We definitely have to do it again.
For sure.